Live from the broadcast center in Los Angeles, this is KCAL9 News at 4.
Now at 4, Greenlit for the yellow tier, surrounded by counties still in the orange. LA County now lands into the least restrictive level of California's COVID-19 blueprint. Well, good afternoon. I'm Leslie Marin in for Susie Sa.
And I'm Juan Fernandez. This is KCAL9 News at 4, and we're streaming on CBSN Los Angeles. Well, that move reopens more businesses and increases capacity, further revving up California's comeback.
And KCAL9's Jeff Nguyen is live in Hollywood, where businesses are getting ready for a different kind of premiere. Jeff.
Leslie and Juan, technically this is a patio, but during the pandemic it cannot be used as outdoor seating because the walls here prevent the circulation that's needed, which means customers have to go this way with their handcrafted cocktails, past this trash bin, and over to what used to be 2 parking spots. But now that will soon change.
When we bought this bar, it was 5 months before they shut us down.
Beginning Thursday, Camila Perry can welcome customers back inside the North End. Her bar in Hollywood doesn't serve food, so capacity will cap at 25%.
We've been waiting for this for over a year.
We found sisters Janice and Mia Carter having lunch outdoors. They have mixed feelings about bellying up to a bar now that LA County has advanced into the least restrictive yellow tier.
I'm pretty open to it. I'm excited that things are getting back to normal. Me personally, I don't feel comfortable.
Entering the yellow tier will mean card rooms, wineries, breweries, and gyms can go from 25% capacity to 50%, and you still have to wear a mask.
It would be fantastic to be able to double what we're currently doing.
At the Burbank Fitness Club, management has increased its cleaning staff to comply with new COVID standards. The air filtration system has been upgraded to include UV lights. The advancement in the tier system is a combination of fewer infections and more vaccinations.
I'm happy to see that people are getting vaccinated.
The North End features a marble counter and plush seats, but so far customers have had to sit and sip in the parking lot.
No one's going to want to be out here in the heat, during summer.
Next to the trash can.
Next to the trash cans, because those are going to smell really bad when they start cooking.
And the yellow tier also means expanded capacity at sports venues and amusement parks. However, you still need one of this. We should note that LA is the only county in Southern California to advance into the yellow tier. Now back to you.
That is good news, Jeff. Thank you. President Joe Biden is revising his COVID-19 vaccination benchmark. He now wants at least 1 dose to be in the arms of 70% of adults by July 4th.
This is your choice. It's life and death. And I hope everyone knows within themselves it makes the choice that is going to help them and their loved ones be safe, get our businesses open again, and get us back to normal.
The president said there are 3 areas to cover in the next phase of the country's recovery. First, getting vaccines into the arms of teens ages 12 to 15, which could happen as early as next week once the FDA approves it. Second, making it easier to get a vaccine. There's a new website, vaccines.gov, where you can type in your zip code and it will tell you where you can get a shot in your area. The president is also ordering pharmacies and asking states to make more walk-ins available for people. And thirdly, he also wants 160 million Americans to be fully vaccinated by the 4th of July. All right, now we go to some breaking news. Sky 9 is live in Irvine, where police are investigating a homicide.
Yeah, and Desmond Shaw is live overhead. Hey, Des.
Hey, Leslie and Juan, we understand that one person has been killed. This is a murder investigation by Irvine PD. It's believed to be domestic. A woman, we know that is the deceased inside of this house on side Red Apple Court, this cul-de-sac in a nice neighborhood in Irvine. 2 men have been detained. Again, it is believed to be domestic. There are no outstanding suspects. So the investigation taking place out here with the Mobile Command Center with Irvine PD probably throughout the duration of this afternoon. Live in Sky 9 overhead, I'm Desmond Shaw. Leslie and Juan, back to you in the studio.
Desmond, thank you. New security video shows a violent crash in Anaheim that left 3 people dead. This all happened at Brookhurst Street near Orange Avenue. Police initially investigated the crash as a hit and run because the second driver ditched her car. KCAL9 Orange County reporter Michelle Geely is live with the video and the details on the investigation. Michelle?
And Juan, to give you an idea how fierce the impact was, the debris field stretched more than 300 feet behind me here across the pavement. So far, however, no one is under arrest. The bright set of headlights flashing across the screen is the white Mercedes. This security video captured sparks flying after a horrifying collision on Brookhurst Street before dawn. Anaheim police say a speeding driver slammed into a black Kia pulling out of a shopping center parking lot. 3 men in the Kia, officials say, were killed instantly. Witnesses ran to help 2 young women in the Mercedes.
The white car started on fire, and some people just took the girls out of the car, and they put them on the floor over there on the driveway, and then they put them in the car and took them to the hospital. So the girls didn't even know that what was going on.
By the time police got to the crash around 3 a.m., the driver and the passenger in the Mercedes had been taken to a hospital by an unidentified person who Anaheim detectives are trying to locate. It's also not clear, according to law enforcement, who was behind the wheel of the Mercedes and whether that person was under the influence. So far, there have been no arrests.
As a driver of a vehicle, when you're involved in a collision, especially when there's injuries, you're obligated to stay at the scene. So the fact that the 2 females fled, even though they were leaving to possibly seek medical attention, that's something we will take into consideration when we decide if we are going to seek criminal charges or not. But as a driver, you're always obligated to stay at the scene of a collision.
A few minutes before the fiery impact, a second security camera recorded a group of people leaving a hookah lounge. They got into 2 cars. The Kia is seen pulling out of the parking lot. It inched forward, braked, and then came the crash. The owner of the bar, who shot this cell phone video, says it was an Uber picking up his customers. Police have not released the names of the deceased.
And when I ran there to help, I saw dead bodies in there, I was with the dispatch on the phone. I gave him a location. I tried to help, but I couldn't do anything. It was too late.
Now, we are told that at least one of the women was badly injured. At this point, police say they are having to go through all of these details, and then they will make the determination as to whether anyone in this case is going to be arrested. We're live in Anaheim. I'm Michelle Geely. Back to you.
Just a horrific crash. Thanks, Michelle. Well, we want to get to breaking news this afternoon. The attorney for former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has filed a motion for a new trial. Now, the motion was filed on the grounds of juror misconduct and claims the court abused its discretion for failing to agree to the defense's requests for a change of venue and sequestering the jury. The filing comes in the midst of controversy surrounding a photo of juror Brandon Mitchell at the March on Washington in late August, which included speeches from George Floyd's family members. He is seen wearing a T-shirt that says, "Get your knee off our necks." Now, in his juror questionnaire, Mitchell wrote that he had not attended any protests over police brutality. Chauvin was found guilty of 3 counts: second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter for killing George Floyd.
Investigators are trying to figure out what started a deadly fire at a South LA commercial building. It broke out at a carpentry business on 57th Street near Alba Street. Firefighters got to the scene around midnight and quickly put their RS3 robot to work. The small tank-like vehicle is outfitted with a fire hose that can spray 2,500 gallons of water per minute. It took more than an hour to put out the fire, but they were able to stop it from spreading to nearby buildings. One man did die in the fire. Neighbors say he worked at the business and may have been spending the night there.
Serious allegations against the LA County Sheriff's Department, and now the Board of Supervisors has ordered an investigation. A coalition of family members whose loved ones died in deputy-involved shootings accused deputies of harassing them. A new report by the National Lawyers Guild and a ACLU backs their allegations. The families do allege deputies harass and intimidate them. They say deputies have stopped and handcuffed them and even followed them to a gravesite.
We have video proof. We have pictures. We've taken them to the Sheriff's Department. We've called the CLC meetings. We've done what we had to do, and nothing's gotten done. These families aren't getting protected. My family isn't getting protected. Instead, we're being harassed.
Since my son's death, we have been terrorized Every day we're watching our backs. We have made complaints. We have went to the sheriff's department and nothing is ever done.
LA County Supervisors Hilda Solis and Holly Mitchell co-authored a motion asking the county's inspector general to update a 2020 investigation of harassment by the sheriff's department. We're still waiting for a response from the department.
Family and friends came together to remember the man run down by a speeding McLaren in downtown LA 1 year ago today. 68-year-old Larry Brooks was walking in the Arts District near Santa Fe Avenue and 3rd Street when he was hit and killed by the speeding luxury car. The 23-year-old driver, Kal-Yung Chan, is facing criminal charges. The family has filed a civil wrongful death lawsuit as well. Loved ones stood at the site where he was killed and held a moment of silence.
It was something so senseless that took his life. And you go out for a walk in the middle of a pandemic because it's a healthy thing to do, and you get wiped out. You know, it's infuriating, and it's terrifying.
Brooks is survived by his wife and 2 children. A pretrial hearing in the criminal case is scheduled for the end of the month.
Well, after recently reopening as COVID-19 restrictions loosened in LA County, the Pasadena Central Library was abruptly closed again. But this time it's over seismic safety concerns. The library tweeted it will be closed until further notice. The city says a structural assessment showed most of the building is made up of unreinforced masonry that supports concrete floors and walls. Buildings built that way are considered a hazard since they can potentially collapse during an earthquake. It's unclear what will happen to the building, which opened in 1927. For now, officials say the library's services will be moved to other locations.
It's too bad. It's such a beautiful building.
It truly is.
My goodness. All right. Well, a sheriff's deputy was the victim of a racist rant during a recent traffic stop in St. Demas.
You're always going to be a Mexican. You'll never be white. You know that, right?
More of this video and what led up to the stop to begin with.
And New York City police are searching for a suspect caught on camera attacking 2 Asian women with a hammer.
And we're also having the latest on the tragedy in Mexico City where an elevated train track collapsed, killing more than 20 people.
Our warming trend has started. Can you feel the difference? I'll let you know how hot it'll be tomorrow. Coming up.
A Georgia woman was arrested at Atlanta's airport on Sunday for trying to smuggle drugs in her shoes. U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers pulled the 21-year-old for further inspection after she arrived from a flight from Jamaica. When officers closely examined her belongings, they found 3 pounds of a white powder substance hidden in the bottoms of 7 pairs of the woman's shoes. Well, the powder turned out to be $40,000 worth of cocaine.
Well, officials now say 24 people have died after a train accident in Mexico, and the metro train is part of one of the busiest subway systems in the world.
KCAL9's Jasmine Veal joins us now with the latest on the investigation and the ongoing cleanup. Jazz?
Yeah, Leslie, Juan, I mean, so sad here. Of the 24 killed, the mayor of Mexico City says 21 died there at the scene, including children. More than 70 people were injured in what is now one of the deadliest accidents in the history of the subway. And tonight, questions about the structural integrity of the transit system.
A crane removed one of the train cars that had been dangling in the air for hours over an overpass following a late-night deadly train track collapse in Mexico City. Security cameras captured the exact moment the track plummeted onto a busy road below. Many were killed and dozens of others were taken to local hospitals where relatives gathered to locate their loved ones. Christian Segura Osorio came to find his sister. He held up a photo of her on his cell phone, showing the uniform she was wearing at the time of the accident. The mayor of Mexico City, Claudia Sheinbaum, says children are among the dead. The accident happened on one of the city's newest train lines, which runs partially above ground, but has had some structural issues, including needing repairs a couple of months after its construction. Mexico's prosecutor's office says it will investigate the cause of the railway collapse.
And now in March of just last year, 2 trains collided, killing 1 person. Then in 2015, a train crashed into another train, injuring 12 people. Juan?
All right, Jasmine, thanks for that. Disturbing new video released today of a recent attack on an Asian woman in New York City hit in the head with a hammer. The attack took place on Sunday night. Two women are walking along when they are approached by a suspect. The suspect reportedly demanded one of the victims take off her mask before hitting the victim in the head with a hammer. The suspect dropped the hammer before fleeing the scene. The victim was treated at the hospital for a laceration to her head. Well, this attack is being investigated as a hate crime, and a reward is being offered for information leading to the suspect's arrest.
A racist rant caught on body cam video in San Dimas. This time, the insults and abuse were directed towards a sheriff's deputy when he pulled a woman over.
I pulled you over because
you're a murderer. Yes, I started to record because you're a murderer.
You can't be on your cell phone while you're driving.
I wasn't on my phone. I was recording you because you scared me.
You can't use your cell phone while you're recording.
I can record you. And can you call your supervisor, please?
I already did. He's on his way.
Good, because you're a murderer.
Okay.
You're always going to be a Mexican. You'll never be white. You know that, right? You'll never be white, which is what you really want to be.
There you go, dear.
Well, the deputy identifies himself as Latino. In the video, the driver says she's a teacher. The deputy pulled her over for allegedly using her cell phone while driving. The woman admits to not having her driver's license with her, claiming she forgot it at home. The woman demands a supervisor be called to the scene. After the supervisor arrives, the woman eventually signs the ticket given for operating a cell phone while driving before driving away. Now, Sheriff Alex Villanueva tweeted this response upon seeing this video. This deputy exemplifies the core values of our department. His demeanor during this traffic stop is just an example of professionalism and patience our LA Sheriff's deputies have. Well, coming up at 6 on our sister station CBS 2, we'll have more video of this interaction, as well as discuss why the deputy was wearing his own body camera, not a department-issued one. That's ahead at 6.
Wow. A small brush fire spread when a motorhome caught fire in the Cajon Pass today. It happened on the northbound 15 freeway north of Kenwood. A SIG alert was issued and several lanes were shut down while crews tried to stop the fire. Air resources were also called in to help. No word on how the motorhome caught fire.
Well, we do want to get to some breaking news. Sky 9 is live in Upland, where crews are battling a 3-alarm fire.
Let's go back up to Desmond Shaw live overhead for us. Des?
Juan and Leslie, this is a really serious fire on the 900 block of West 7th Street in Upland, just north of the 10 freeway, very visible from the freeway. And look how it has just ripped through this, looks like kind of a horseshoe-shaped apartment building, apparently spread through a common attic. So it looks like the fire may have started here and then worked its way around to this side. It's pretty much completely destroyed this entire apartment building. No word of any injuries on this yet, but it is now essentially a 3-alarm fire. They had been in defensive mode, although I did just see some firefighters on the ground move into this courtyard here, so beginning to fight it now from all angles, but just terrible here. The folks have basically in this entire apartment complex have lost everything, Juan and Leslie.
Yeah, that's what's so sad to see this, Desmond. It looks like there's nothing to save here. Everything's been burned.
And it looks like a rather large area.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the bottom units here. They don't look to be in as bad a shape, at least on that. That's the north side of this fire, but you can see pretty much all of the apartments on the top floor. I can't remember the last time that I saw a fire be this effective at working its way around, not just like climbing up a building, but basically around a building. It's gone, all the way from, it looks like it may have started on the west side and has now worked its way all the way towards the east side. You can still see how intense the flames are. This is where they're training most of their attention at this point. There may be some hope for these units on the very bottom floor, but this is just an extremely stubborn fire. It's unclear what started this, but again, basically spread through a common attic. So that seems to be how this fire was able to spread so quickly and do so much damage.
Yeah, the water, the smoke damage, and the fire damage is just going to be horrible to deal with, especially even those bottom apartments. Who's going to want to live there with all this damage going on around them? My goodness. All right, Desmond Shaw reporting live for us, happening there in Upland. As you see there, a 3-alarm fire, basically wiping out an entire apartment building complex.
Just devastating. Well, we do want to turn things over to Markina Brown, who is tracking our weather, and it is heating up out there, Markina.
Yeah, can you feel it, especially compared to yesterday? Yesterday was warm, today is warmer, and we're going to continue with that trend even as we go through tomorrow. So get ready as we take a look at some temperatures outside. They're good. We've got 60s, upper 60s along the coast, but the main thing I want you to see is that we are completely clear. All clouds and fog cleared out way early this morning, and so we're looking at temperatures in Santa Monica right now that are at 67 degrees. Downtown LA, 76 is your number. You too are looking at full sunshine with winds out of the west at about 6. So far today, 79 has been our high. 61 is where we started this morning. Record high 93 degrees set back in 1928. So here's what you need to know. As I said, warming trend, it's happening. As we head toward later on tonight into tomorrow, though, we're going to see the clouds and fog redevelop. Then as we head toward tomorrow, an even hotter day, then Thursday, Friday and beyond, we start to see those numbers come down. The reason we are going to see the rise in temperatures as we head toward tomorrow is because of this area of high pressure. That'll slowly but surely move out, and that is why we'll get a little bit of a cool down as we head toward the end of the week and into the weekend. So we continue with the roller coaster temperatures, up, down, up, down. Taking a look at the 7-day forecast. Here we go, sorted it all out for you. 69 degrees will be the story for the beaches tomorrow. You're in the mid to upper 60s Thursday and Friday and beyond, as you can see. LA and Orange County doing 81 degrees tomorrow, but down to the mid 70s as we get into Thursday, low 70s after that. 90s for the valleys tomorrow, 92 degrees. Then you're down into the upper 80s as we head toward Thursday. Friday, we're seeing temperatures in the 70s. Inland Empire, again, up, down, up, down. The one constant thing in this forecast is the fact that we are going to stay dry and continue with the sunshine. That is a look at what we're doing, guys. We'll send it back to you.
Markina, thanks for that. A local man has been charged in connection with the fire that severely damaged the San Gabriel mission.
And a teen accused of rigging the homecoming race to be queen is now facing more serious charges.
KCAL9 News is sponsored by the law offices of Jacob and Ronnie. After an accident, call Jacob.
The woman who once promised a huge medical breakthrough is now facing criminal charges from her failed blood testing startup. Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes was in federal court today in San Jose for the first time in more than a year. She began Theranos in 2003 and ran it until 2018. Prosecutors allege that she and former Chief Operating Officer Ramesh Sunny Balwani deceived investors and patients by promising the company's blood testing technology could do more than it could. She's pleaded not guilty. Holmes is currently pregnant and due in July.
Well, 18-year-old Emily Grover will now be tried as an adult in a case involving the rigging of a high school homecoming queen election. Grover turned 18 just a few days after she was arrested. In March, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement announced former Bellevue Elementary Assistant Principal Laura Carroll and her daughter Grover hacked into other students' accounts to cast hundreds of fraudulent votes in Tate High School's 2020 homecoming court election. Grover was crowned homecoming queen. Several witnesses reported Grover was open about using her mother's district-wide focus account to cast votes. The mother-daughter duo were both charged with multiple felonies dealing with unlawful use of a computer and personal information.
The race to replace Governor Gavin Newsom has not yet turned into a circus.
But there was a live bear brought in for a campaign appearance today.
If the bear helps bring the message home, I'm happy to have it.
We'll have the latest on the efforts to recall Governor Gavin Newsom next.
And sold why the purchase of the Palms Casino Resort in Las Vegas is making history.
We need big beastly changes in Sacramento. I'll make them.
Recall the beauty.
Now at 4:30, let the race begin. A big day in the recall effort. Two challengers have released new ads targeting Governor Gavin Newsom. The two Republican hopefuls both called in questions the governor's leadership, especially during the pandemic.
And KCAL9's Lori Perez is live now with the latest on the effort and how Democrats are responding.
Yeah, Leslie and Juan, this is the start of what analysts say is going to be a long summer of campaigning and campaign ads.
California's choice. Beauty.
Pretty boy.
Or a beast.
Aggressive. Sensitive.
California needs a disruptor.
a compassionate disruptor.
Republican challengers Caitlyn Jenner and John Cox are coming at it from different angles in the race to recall and replace Governor Gavin Newsom. Jenner, 71, released a digital ad that hits a nostalgic note as she says she can do what Newsom can't.
We need leaders who are unafraid to leap to new heights.
Cox, a 65-year-old businessman who's tried this before, hit the campaign trail with Tag the Kodiak Bear beside him at the French Laundry restaurant in Napa, where Newsom was caught breaking COVID protocols. A moment at the heart of the criticism over his pandemic policies and the recall effort.
It starts, by the way, with making sure that we have integrity with politics.
Both Cox and Jenner have the resources to make a splash, but analysts doubt it will be nearly enough.
John Cox is bringing the bear, and it's hard to imagine which voters he's bringing with him while he brings that bear.
Well, there's no question both ads are very creative, but there's still a front for two candidates who have never held public office. So the question will always be, how do the ads connect with the electorate?
An electorate in a deep blue state. Despite the fact the recall petition got more than 1.5 million signatures, experts say droves of Democrats would also have to split with Newsom.
The numbers are just against this recall election succeeding. If there's some major change, if the COVID numbers start to rise and we shut down the state again, if kids are no longer in school, if the economy really tanks, then Governor Newsom will be vulnerable.
Republican strategist Luis Alvarado says he already is.
Gavin Newsom's in trouble, and I don't know if he's going to be able to get out of it. And Democrats are taking a big risk by not corralling against a candidate number two.
Loyola Law School professor Jessica Levinson says if Newsom's numbers start to look soft, a Democrat could jump in this summer.
They don't want it to be a situation where Governor Newsom is recalled and then the only people running are Republicans. So I think on that we'll have to wait and see.
Now, Tom Steyer and Antonio Villaraigosa are two of the names that come up when talking about who might jump in. Meanwhile, the governor today stood with firefighters, calling the recall a sideshow, but acknowledging those who might have signed the petition, saying he needs to re-earn their trust. In Marina Del Rey, I'm Lori Perez. Back to you.
Thanks, Lori. Well, we do want to get back out to our breaking news in Upland, where crews right now are battling a 3-alarm fire in an apartment building. This fire just ripping through this building.
Leslie, doesn't look like it's getting any better. Let's go back up to Desmond Shaw, live in Sky 9 with more. Des?
Well, Juan and Leslie, at least we're not seeing the really extreme flames here. They're kind of starting to get a bit of a handle on this, but you can see the catastrophic damage to this apartment building on West 7th Street in Upland, just north of the 10 freeway. You see those hook and ladders still fighting this from the ground. You now begin to see more and more firefighters getting into the courtyard, but look at how this apartment building has been gutted. You see all of this here just ripped through all of these units. It started on the west side and crept over through a common attic onto the east side. This building over here on the south side is fortunate because it's not connected. It's a separate building, but just for comparison, I'll widen out to show you the other buildings here just to the west that are basically the exact same construction. So that's basically what it looked like before, and now this building after the fire. So many people have lost so much. Very sad. No injuries reported. I just really hope that there weren't any pets inside. That's a big concern for sure here. Juan and Leslie, back to you in the studio.
Yeah, pets and people. Do you see any people gathered out there at all, Desmond? I'm looking around and I don't see any. Maybe they're being kept at a distance.
Yeah, I would imagine they'd probably be being kept at a distance for what they call an abundance of caution. Not really seeing any residents gathered out here along West 7th Street.
Yeah, that's really a shame. All right, some breaking news there happening in Upland. Thank you so much for that update, Desmond. Looks just awful out there. Okay, the devastating fire at the San Gabriel mission last year has been determined to be an arson, and a suspect is facing serious charges. Authorities say 57-year-old John David Corey will be charged with 5 felonies in connection with this fire. Corey is currently serving a 3-year sentence in an unrelated arson case. They say, fortunately, the church was undergoing renovations at the time, so many priceless artifacts were not in the building when it burned last June.
Our community of faith at the mission is a close-knit and has actually been rocked by this incident. But we are resurrection people, and we look ahead to the future with a renewed sense of hope. The church is already being restored, and they hope to have the roof rebuilt by the end of August.
just in time for the mission's 250th anniversary celebration in September. Corey is set to be arraigned on May 18th. If convicted, he faces 14 years in prison.
Well, Long Beach today welcomed a new memorial dedicated to the men and women in uniform who gave their lives to protect ours. And that was a 21-gun salute christened the exhibit at Long Beach Civic Center. The names of 29 police officers and 14 firefighters are engraved on small triangles that look like folded flags. After each name was read aloud, Police Chief Robert Luna reminded everyone that these men and women were not statistics.
They represent loved ones, husbands, wives, fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, who are dedicated to this noble and honorable profession, serving the public, protecting those who can't protect themselves, and safeguarding lives. And in doing so, they lost their own lives.
And the chief also revealed 2020 was the deadliest year for law enforcement officers since 1974.
A celebration in Chino for frontline workers in honor of National Nurses Week and Hospital Week. Today, American Career College hosted an appreciation event at Chino Valley Medical Center. The hospital treated thousands of COVID-19 patients over the last year. More than 250 healthcare workers were honored with a recognition wall of personalized banners, posters, and letters.
This is just a way to give back, have the frontline workers just take a moment for themselves and relax and know how much the community appreciates them.
It really does feel good to be making a difference in the world and have people thankful for your work, and it's part of the reason why I wanted to get into the medical field.
There you go. And at the end of their shift, the staff got treated to a hot meal and a special gift. Unemployed workers are still struggling to reach EDD to receive their benefits, so they are turning to a robot for help. We're going to show you how that works ahead.
Plus, after another documentary about her life is released, Britney Spears fires back what she is labeling the filmmakers next.
And they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, then they have never met Millie. Come on in, Millie. Sean Combs has made yet another change to his name. Combs posted his new Florida driver's license on Instagram yesterday, which shows his middle name is now Love. The caption on the photo included the phrase, quote, "Welcome to the love era," in all caps. Combs previously went by Puffy, then Puff Daddy, then P. Diddy, then just Diddy, before returning to P. Diddy.
Can't keep up.
That's right.
Okay, well, Britney Spears posted a lengthy message on Instagram last night telling her more than 29 million followers that the documentaries about her are hypocritical.
That's right. Spears said the world is more interested in the negative aspects of her life, which is why she says she attached this video of herself dancing so people could see her lighter side. Spears' response comes after the BBC released a documentary titled The Battle for Britney. In her post, Spears says she never speaks to Billy B, referencing the makeup artist Billy Brassfield, who appears in the documentary and claims to be in contact with Spears. On June 23rd, Spears is expected to address the judge in her conservatorship case.
Well, robocalls are usually something that make people angry. So then why are unemployed Californians turning to robocalls for help? We explain next. Unemployed workers tell us they're still struggling to get through to EDD to receive their benefits more than a year after the pandemic started.
KCAL9's Christine Lazar reports some are now turning to call bots to get through to the EDD, but at what price?
We are currently receiving more calls than we can answer and are unable to assist you at this time. Please try again later.
It's the recorded message that many of the unemployed have become all too familiar with.
When I try to call now, my stomach aches. I just can't dial the number anymore.
Carol Massenberg was laid off from her job as a host at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
I would meet them, greet them, and see them.
Her days are now spent trying to get EDD on the phone. Her claim has been suspended since December.
I had two of my family members, three of us all together. Every 5 minutes, we would hit redial.
Frustrated by his own inability to get EDD on the phone last spring, Thomas Maxson created a computer program, or bot, to call for him. He launched his startup Claimer in January.
We put people in a queue,
and we dial for them at a consistent rate.
For $19.99, Claimer promises you will get an EDD customer service rep on the phone. The wait time, Maxon says, is between 5 minutes and an hour or two. He insists while some bots will place thousands of calls a minute and can jam up EDD's phone lines, Claimer is more efficient because he says it only calls for one person at a time.
And so instead of people placing hundreds of calls on their own, they'd be basically placing 10 to 15 to 20 to 30 calls through Claimer.
But critics say bots are making it so that those who pay to get through actually do, and those who don't won't. In a statement to us, EDD says these services can create artificial call traffic in our customer call lines. Heather Howard has been trying on her own to get through to EDD almost every day for 2 months.
It's like hitting this brick wall and you have no way of circumventing it and getting some kind of resolution.
EDD tells us it's recently upgraded its website to be more user-friendly with the Ask EDD feature. And it says it continues to hire and train more workers to staff its call center. Christine Lazar, KCAL9 News.
It was a down day for a bunch of technology stocks like Apple and Microsoft, and that pulled on the market. The Dow managed to gain about 20 points after falling more than 300 earlier today. The Nasdaq lost 262, and the S&P 500 gave up 28 points.
Well, the San Manuel Band of Mission Indians says they are planning to purchase the Palms Casino Resort in Las Vegas, making it the first tribe to own and operate a casino on the Strip. The tribe, which already owns and operates San Manuel Casino in Highland, will pay $650 million, according to a news release from current Palms owner Red Rock Resorts. The transaction is expected to close in 2021, but is subject to regulatory approvals and other closing conditions.
Burger King is rolling out new experimental packaging. The fast food giant is giving its most used items like utensils, straws, and wrappers an environmentally friendly makeover. For example, the French fry containers called Fry Pods are being made with a new recyclable paperboard. And the experimental new cutlery is made with plastics that include plant sources. The burger chain would like to do a nationwide rollout of the packaging in the next year.
And hold the apples for Teacher Appreciation Week. Educators can get 20% off at Buffalo Wild Wings. Insomnia Cookies will sweeten the deal with a free cookie or a free 6-pack of cookies with a $5 purchase. And teachers who sign up for a new Costco membership will receive a $20 shop card, always helpful. Just remember to have your teacher ID handy to get the deals. Well, closed doors are no match for Millie. Watch as the golden retriever lets herself into her home in Florida using the doorknob. Millie's owner shared the video and said the clever pooch has been opening the door a lot more since she learned how to.
That's right. Dogs are so smart, right? They watch your every move and they repeat it. And that's Millie wanted in, right?
They truly do. That is a hilarious video. I want to figure out how she learned that. How old is she?
Exactly. She watched very well. All right, Marquina Brown joins us once again with one more look at her forecast. Hey, Marquina.